Coming up next, we got Bridget Carey. Every year now, I think this is Bridget's 7th year joining us, which I'm so pleased that she said yes a long time ago to coming on our show. Bridget Carey, of course, from CNET. She is just phenomenal all over YouTube, all over Twitter. You'll see her trying out new products, finding the goofiest gadgets, the best gadgets, the worst gadgets. When it comes to tech, there are few people in that business that know as much as Bridget Carey from CNET. She's going to tell us about the hottest, as Doug said earlier, the hottest and the nottest this season. What deals should you avoid? Which ones might be worth your money? We're going to help you avoid losing some Benjamins today with Bridget. And you always know on the Stacking Benjamin show that Thanksgiving's tomorrow when Bridget Carey's back. How are you?
It's good to be back, Joe. Thanks. Doing good.
It is so great to have you here juggling all the stuff that you juggle. I'm glad that you can fit us in. I said this to Regina Conway from Slick Deals on Monday, and I want to ask you the same question, but on a different level, on more of a tech level. I was at Target this last week. Obviously, Target last week announced horrible news. They think that the holiday season is not going to go that great for them. That sent not just their stock, but the world of stocks into kind of a tailspin because they're kind of a harbinger maybe of things to come. I saw so many big screen TVs, Bridget. Does this Target news mean that this year, if I'm looking for a tech deal, that I'm probably going to be able to score a better tech deal than in previous years?
I think you're always going to get pretty good personal technology deals. Those things never change. They're not like necessarily that much better than last year from what I'm seeing right now. I think there is something about just people being tired and not as excited about these sales. There's so many different factors, right? Everything from inflation to the fact that Black Friday deals have started in early October. When you saw that recent Amazon Prime Day, it was a dud. Because it just wasn't something that people were like, oh, I must have these same things every year. How many times can you buy an Echo, right? So when the innovation isn't changing your life all that much, we are looking for deals. We all want a deal right now. We want to make sure we're shopping smart. But the season has been stretched so much that that's why you're probably hearing things like, they're not predicting something totally gigantic in terms of sales because I think it's just so stretched out. I have seen a lot of good TV deals. If you are looking for TVs, you kind of have to get a little creative. I would say hone in on things like Roku TV. Sometimes there are manufacturers you just haven't heard of. There's one really good deal. It's something called OWN, ONN. Like, how do you say that? OWN. Like, yeah, exactly. It ain't LG. It's not a Samsung. But we're talking like $100 here. This is like,
wow, really?
But then what gets us frustrated as consumers is, okay, how long is that sale going to last on Amazon? How long is that sale going to last? You go thinking you're going to buy a TV and it's all sold out. So you have to kind of go in with this game plan now, where you have maybe a few TVs you want. I've seen big sales on this Samsung TV called the Frame. It's this new concept.
I own it. I own one.
Then you are ahead of the game. It looks like a picture frame with the, it's kind of designed to be like, oh, it's like an art piece when I don't want it to be, watching TV. So they are knocking that down. I think it's about $1,000 now, but you have to go in with a game plan of many different things you might want because of inventory when it comes to TVs. I see constantly every year, Bridget, they'll tweet at me like, why was the sale only for 3 seconds? And I'm not exaggerating. There was a lightning sale that was 3 seconds long. So why are people upset because of that? You kind of feel, what's it worth? I used to be the kind of person who stood in line at a store at 4 a.m. That was fun. It's totally different now.
It is. It feels different. I just feel like those lines around Best Buy, like, why? Why would I do the line around? I have no idea why I do that.
Target used to give you things when you stood in line. Do you remember those days? I used to get a little stuffed animal.
Yes.
Get little like goodies.
Yeah.
Like a little Nutri-Grain bar. Good for you for coming in at 5 a.m. What 5 a.m. is a joke now, right? Anyways, continue.
It was festive. It was fun. And there's just, now it seems like drudgery. It just, not the same. Like Black Friday just doesn't feel that same. But by that token, I want to go back to this $100 TV for a second, because obviously for a $100 TV, I'm not expecting the world's greatest TV. But did you guys rate that TV at all decently?
Okay, so it's $98 when I saw it, and the way we have written it is that this company has made other TVs that are well reviewed in the category of that low price, right? So
Gotcha.
Obviously this is not 4K. This is 1080p.
Right.
It's like, okay, what are you looking for in terms of sizing, right? But in general, like you go to something like Samsung's 55-inch, that's $500 off at Best Buy, so it comes to $1,000. Well, yeah, that's going to be a better TV, But when people are looking for deals, they're like, you got to judge it in that price range, is what I'm saying. And with the Roku TVs, I always think they end up being kind of pretty decently reviewed products.
I've had 2 Roku TVs and I've loved them both. I just, the functionality that's there just makes my life so easy when it comes to TVs. While we're on TVs, in the past, you've talked about sometimes avoiding the deals on TVs because of the fact that, especially on a Black Friday, the old fashioned doorbuster deals, right? They give you less features. Like, it's not as great. I never knew that till I talked to you, by the way. Hey, this is really smoke and mirrors. We're going to see a lot of that again this holiday season.
It's like so much work to kind of go in and going, well, what am I getting with this TV, right? Okay, I'm getting something that might not have everything I want. That's part of the homework. I also think that TVs have another big sale coming up right before the Super Bowl always, so if you're feeling like a little so-so on it, just wait it out maybe. But everyone always kind of looks at this time as a time to, hey, at least I got something that was big, right? I think we're spending more time wanting to upgrade our home theater, and maybe that super cheap TV isn't going to make sense for everyone. Like, I went all out in the pandemic and made sure I got a super high quality top of the line TV because I'm watching everything now on it, so right. So I think it depends on lifestyle, but you're absolutely right. There's a reason you haven't heard of that name brand before, because sometimes there are TVs that are only made for Black Friday, because of exactly what you said. They're not something you're going to find again. So you might be doing your homework and you're like, well, wait a second. I can't find this model reviewed. I can't find this model price history, because they just made up a number that's only going to be sold for this window of time. So that's why you have to go, all right, well, what about other TVs that they've made? And that's kind of the homework you have to do. There's not a lot of time to do the homework, though, when you're acting fast.
Sure. But which I think means you got to know what you're looking for. Like, you got to know how many inputs you need. You got to know exactly what inputs you need. You have to know some of the details. Really, it kind of starts with you, not with the TV, I would imagine.
Yeah. Know why you're using this for. Is this your main living room TV where you need like 4 HDMI inputs because everyone's got a game system attached to it? Or is this for the bedroom where you can have just stick a Roku TV stick in the back and you'll be fine?
Let's back up a minute, because in our prep sessions, our back and forth emails getting ready for today, you told me you're pretty excited about some of the, not the specific tech like we jumped into TVs right now, but some of the tracking stuff you can do now. Apparently there's some new ways to maybe score some deals or evaluate things.
It used to be hard to kind of know if you were getting a really good deal when you have to act so fast, kind of going what we just said. Google now, in their search engine results, you see them over the years. They put more and more info when you just search for something. Like, it's not just a link to the site anymore. The latest thing that they have done, this like a couple weeks ago, is if you search for a specific product, like I want to buy the JBL Go 3 portable waterproof speaker, a great buy, might I add. Something everyone loves, a good portable speaker. If you go on right now, it tells you what the price typically is. It's typically $30 to $40. It's a whole little side box on the right-hand side from what the search results are. It tells you who has it on sale at what price. It has a little flag that says sale. It will flag a coupon code. It goes that deep, because I was talking to Google the
sweet.
other week, and they said that these a lot of time the retailers themselves, like Best Buy, will talk directly to Google and put that info in. You always had to download some sort of Chrome extension to have some add-on to tell you if there was a coupon. No, now it's right inside the search results. So if you're sitting there on Amazon, you see something flagged to sale, go hop on over to Google really quick, type in what that product is, like that speaker or whatever, and it'll tell you what the price typically is. And you can feel like, oh, this is $5 less than it typically is. I think I am getting a deal. It's just something interesting to look forward to. That it's just an extra tool to help you when you have to make quick decisions.
That's fabulous. It feels like they took the same technology that I remember when I skipped over and started using Google Flights, right? Where it just made it so much easier to just get my flight booked. I'm still going through the airline the way I want, but I can compare. I can see what's going on. Like, taking that seems like a natural extension of what Google's already good at.
I feel like everyone's looking for a piece of this pie. There's so many different add-ons that have always tried to give you coupon codes, always try to tell you what the sale of something is. And Google just kind of goes, we'll do that ourselves. So now it's actually built into the search engine.
Let's dive into some of my favorite stuff we've always talked about, which is the things that we need around the house, right? Between lighting and floors and things that clean the floors to, remember when we were all hot about smart electronics? Like, what happened to having my smart stuff on my refrigerator? That seems to be.
Wait, you don't want to tweet from your refrigerator? Wait, you don't.
What's the hot stuff this year, Bridget?
I feel a little bit like a broken record when I come on, because how many times am I going to talk about an Amazon Echo speaker? But that is what this week is really about, right? It's about these personal smart devices. And sometimes the deal is also not just in, I want to get like an extra new speaker, but they combo them. Like, Amazon and Google always make a big deal about really severely discounting their products, so you get sucked into their world. You'll always buy Amazon, you'll always buy Google if they hook you now. But like the Echo Dot, the fifth generation one, they're throwing in a free Philips Hue smart bulb. So those things are expensive. And now you have a double whammy there. Fire tablets, we're talking like $40. But the Echo Dot itself, a $15 smart speaker. Okay, so yeah, that is crazy good. So I have seen better tablet sales in the past years, but when it comes to speakers, it's still very good. And then this is also a hot year in terms of trends, what people are looking for. Ways to wake up with light. You might have seen them as alarm clocks that have a light that slowly turns on, so it looks like the sunrise in your room. We're all feeling like it's too dark. And Philips Hue bulbs and other smart bulbs, they do this too. Something to consider. So there's a big search boost in those kinds of products. And everyone's always talking about air fryers. I don't have one yet, and I feel like I'm feeling peer pressure. Everyone's like, you got to get an air fryer. It's like the best thing ever. But there's always massive sales now on air fryers. Might I say, though, from people I've spoken to, do your homework again. I know I feel like a nerd telling people to do their homework, but when it comes to the size of the air fryer, I have a girl who's a mom, and she said she got one that was too small. She wished she got one bigger because she has to feed the family. So think about how much you're going to use that for. Roombas, always something on sale. Like you said, something that could do the chores for you. It's good. Gaming systems. Sometimes we see really good ones come up. I'm noticing a little bit of the combos once again. Hey, buy a Nintendo Switch, but also get a gift card. And Dysons. This is the time to buy those expensive Dyson vacuums. I see right now you could save about $90 on the Dyson Ball Animal 3. I mean, it's still $400, but you want to try to help yourself any way you can, so this is the season for those expensive things. It's kind of like Apple products, you never get big sales, but when you do, you're like, at least I waited, at least I'm smart about it, and I can get a little something for it.
Yeah, Dyson is funny. On Monday, Regina was talking about Dyson hair dryers, which are not cheap hair dryers. And now you're talking about the rest of the Dyson line. Seems like the to your point, if you're going to invest in some of this higher end stuff and you have the ability to do it, maybe it is the time. By the way, based on the conversations you and I have had the last couple of years, I did start investing in Hue. And what I've been doing is just doing, a few light bulbs at a time, a little bit. This is fun as hell, Bridget. By the way, I will tell everybody out there, feels completely unnecessary, But man, when we're having people over, we had people over on Halloween, and my lights are slowly changing to make this effect all over the house. It was super. And the stuff about the morning where you're slowly waking up with the lights coming up. And when we leave town and we have lights turning on in the security feature, it's a neat system, but not cheap at all.
No, Philips is one of the more expensive ones. We have a bunch on Cena. If you want to like figure out, well, do I need, that brand or other brands? There are other brands out there that are at a lower price point, but I did try out those Philips hues too. And I do the same thing. I love going all out on the colors and having fun and having spooky lights, but then also like it's very festive in the holidays. No, but you can have these whole themes, and it helps, especially if you are someone who works from home and you need a division between home time and work time. And I've talked to people who actually set their lights to be a little different with mood lighting to
that's
kind of help
fabulous.
them with that mental division when you're stuck at home all the time.
We've reported on that a lot, that people, with the pandemic especially, the separation of church and state, as it were, has become so blurred, and it's messing with us, messing with our psyche, messing with our moods. So being able to change that through the lighting, I think is fantastic. And to your point, I also went out and bought some other much cheaper smart bulbs that were just orange and black, so that they and purple, so that they made kind of a Halloween, because I didn't need them to change. And I didn't need to spend the money for the hue bulbs. And now I just put them in a drawer, and next Halloween I'll add those back in. Is it the same thing, by the way, talking about how high end, let's go back to high end sound. Sonos with high end sound, I know comes out with new stuff every year. You seen any deals there, or not really?
I'm seeing deals on mediocre things like your portable smart speakers, your Google Nest Mini. I mean, we're talking a smart speaker that's $18. These are great for if you get a bunch of them in your house. The sound can kind of travel throughout your house. We're seeing the Apple has their own mini home speaker that also is discounted right now by $20. I mean, they're more expensive. It's $80, but it's something that people kind of want to slowly add to their collection. So that way, maybe as it goes from the kitchen to the bedroom, there's a little bit of a connection. You can actually now call people if you're like a mom trying to get to your teenager in another room. You use like intercom systems now. You're like,
wow.
Hey, come on over the dinner. Come on, that kind of thing. But no, the high quality stuff, I'm not seeing advertised, but then you when it all pops could be random. I mean, even when it comes to some product categories, you just see them at different times. People always ask me, do you have a sale that you can recommend with toys? It's one of my side beats.
That's
I
next
on
my list, by the way.
But
toys,
list. I can tell you where the trends are, but toys tend to go on sale after Black Friday, usually closer in December, when like people are kind of having that like, I have to have a little something extra for the kid. That's when you got to look for that.
Let's talk about that, though. Let's go into toys. Maybe not saving money, but certainly what we can do, Bridget, is point people to the stuff that's really going to be good stuff, and we're not wasting our Benjamins on them. What's some of the hot, good tech versus some of the not so hot stuff?
I am noticing this bigger category of the toys that the Hasbros, the Mattels, and other toy makers are pushing. They're smaller, because they know people are looking at a lower price point to have more toys for their kids. Like we're talking like little keychain fidgets and smaller ways to kind of add-ons to things. So the same hot toys that were really hot last year that might have been $40 now have a mini version of themselves that are $20 on the shelves. You want to look for toys that have good repeat play, that grow with a kid. And one of the side things I kind of found, this is actually a statistic from the toy industry that trends things, that tracks trends, I should say. 58% of parents have said that they have bought a toy for themselves. There is a category, you and I are being targeted more for toys. That's what the industry is doing. You might have noticed it with like adult Legos, right? Like, yeah, Legos. Yeah, yes. Like, okay, that's like Legos for art. But I'm talking like every category. And I've actually found that you can maybe find some toys that are for a young person, and maybe when they're taking a nap, you can have a little fun yourself. Like Spirograph, classic. They're more advanced now. You can like remember that whole trend where like people were like coloring books like to get rid of their stress. Now it's like, oh yeah, have this advanced Spirograph. I'm like, oh, you know what? For like a white elephant, there's actually like you can have some fun with like pop-it toys that kind of like are fidgets that you pop them and they have electronic games. So I'm seeing more of that, but. The big toys of the year, those like, oh, this is the big star toy. They're still really expensive. The biggest toy of the year is going to be something I think it's called the Magic Mixies Crystal Ball. It's a giant crystal magic ball that smoke fills. You wave your wand like you're Harry Potter. It's not Harry Potter, but kids love pretending. Sure. And then a stuffed animal, mystery animal will pop out of it, and there's smoke everywhere. My kids are like, "Yeah, the smoke smells." It's not toxic, but like it's this big production. I these things are, if you see a sale on something like that, you might see like $10 off, but we're talking like $70, $80 are still for these really big. Huge toys, but in general, we are seeing them be more small, I would say.
Well, let's talk about that one in particular. You talk about repeat and replay value, right? Is that the type of toy, though, Bridget, that's really expensive? It has a great, first presence, but then after you get over the novelty of it, just sits in a corner?
Okay, this is why this is a good one. Because I have that problem. Remember Hatchimals? It was like a big thing where it hatched out of an eggshell. And you're like, well, what do you do with this plastic? There's enough plastic trash in my home,
Yeah.
But with this crystal ball, they can keep having it make smoke. You can put other characters in it, have it pop out. So you have other like teeny beanie babies or something. You can throw them in and have it pop out. You can keep having pretend play for a while. But mom and dad will still be like, what is this giant thing doing in my house? So I think you are seeing, for that very like related reason of the, you want repeat play. So yes, Magic Mixies, it has repeat play for a while. But you also are tired of like having all this plastic garbage in your home. And we are seeing more manufacturers, Hasbro, Mattel, others, talk more about, okay, now the boxes they'll come in, they won't have a million ties this year. There'll be more cardboard. Some of the boxes themselves are part of the toy. Oh, thank goodness. So there is a sustainability kind of push, and the industry kind of sees that we're all tired of the junk. So that's a good sign, at least if you got someone who's young in the house that you'll be giving gifts for. At least there aren't a million things you have to cut off with scissors. That'll be more sustainable packaging.
I didn't warn you about this last one, but we have not talked at all lately about mobile tech, number one, things in the car or out in the garage, any new technology in those areas?
I am not seeing a whole lot of whiz bang there, but phones, yes, we have seen some deals on phones. I
forgot to ask you about phones. I'm glad you brought that up.
I mean, like the Samsung Galaxy S22 Plus is like, down to what, like $750. Oh, big whoop! I feel like it's such a great deal, $700. But people who want these phones, if you can wait, it is a good time to get them. But then you sit there and you're like, okay, is this a gift or did I just get it for myself? So it's really about saving money for like you and your family, like right now. And then it becomes like if you want to get in person, you can kind of have a better chance at these things. But yeah, you always see AT&T, Verizon, they always have like some sort of like combo deal while they catch you in the mall already shopping. But I feel like they're like, where's the like really whiz bang innovation? It's going to be in the kitchen this year. It's what kind of like cool things you can add to your kitchen or clean your house with. It's not so much, sadly, like in the car, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, VR, is something. So it's a lot of entertainment. But yeah, people are, who are looking for like, what's that really cool thing? It's just about getting the deal right now on something that can maybe level up what you already have, level up your cooking, level up your TV with a Roku stick that's really cheap, like kind of give it a boost. Or, like I said, buy a toy for yourself because frankly, we all need it, right?
We do need it. I want to swing back. I forgot to ask you something about gaming systems, which is that a year ago, as I just think about checking all the boxes, a year ago, we were talking about how, of course, Sony and Microsoft with the Xbox and the PlayStation, you couldn't get them, right? Those log jams now largely gone.
Yeah, I think you're gonna find systems. It's more like people are wondering, well, do you wait for the PlayStation VR 2 that is really expensive, and it's coming out in February. So people might be thinking, oh, maybe you get, if you don't have a PlayStation now and you're looking forward to like having some sort of like cool experience like that, maybe you get the system now and you wait a few months and get the VR system add-on, which, you know, these things add up to like $2,000.
Yeah.
You start adding up, it gets to be a lot. But I think the deals really are going to be the like sweet combos of like a game with something. You're not going to see the actual system discounted as much as you're going to see, oh, it comes with a gift card, oh, it comes with a game, and sometimes old games that maybe your kids just haven't played yet are a great thing to look into. Last year I got Breath of the Wild, the Zelda game, for like $30. You know, so like in these games have great longevity to them, just because, you know, it's not a new game, it's new to you maybe. So think of things like that.
Well, and on that note, I know that Microsoft has kind of been dragging Sony through the place Sony doesn't want to go with their Game Pass system, right? That this whole idea that now I have a Netflix style subscription. I know there's been rumors, you probably know more about this than I do, about Netflix kind of making a Netflix style Netflix gaming subscription. These gaming subscriptions worth giving as a gift?
Yeah, Netflix has been hiring in that area. So I think subscriptions in general are something that is complicated to give as a gift, and also a great idea when maybe the person you're shopping for already seems to have everything. And it's not just gaming. We're talking like workout subscriptions are another thing. You know, you want to like get a big wow workout product for someone, like a NordicTrack or something, and suddenly it's like, oh, they need a subscription for the workout program
just
on
to
the
use
screen.
It. Yeah, right.
Some things you got to really watch out for. Some of them will be just complete technology bricks unless you have the subscription, and other things don't need a subscription. Be smart. You know, if you're getting a rower, get the one that doesn't need a screen on it, you know, and then you can always add your own with an iPad attachment. That said, yes, a lot of great, you know, subscription products there in games, but you got to know what they like. You got to know what they have already. And if you don't, you could just also gift essentially like a GameStop gift card that they can like do their own download later, you know, because there's a lot of ways you can give a digital gift as a game. Like, oh, there's someone who loves to download PC games on Steam. Oh, there's someone who always downloads their games. You know, you could do these codes online. Last minute gift. Oh no, I'm going to Aunt's house and I don't have time to go to GameStop to get a physical game card or you know, gift card. You can get digital, you know, gift cards all the time. So always keep that in mind.
And I'm glad you mentioned workout equipment, because that did not make my list of stuff that we need to talk about. You know, we saw problems in that area, right? The big cycle manufacturer.
Yeah, the Peloton and everything.
Peloton, yes.
Yeah.
Ran into trouble this last year, and it turned out those weren't selling like we all thought they were selling. They were making a ton of them, and a lot of people buying them. But OG, my co-host, got the tonal system and really, really likes it. Like, thinks it's just amazing for him. So, talk about those for a second. Anything we should really watch out for? I know the subscription you just mentioned, but any real highlights there?
You know, what's happened with Peloton is actually a consumer benefit that other companies like NordicTrack are having great deals now. So, so like I saw off the top of my head, there's a NordicTrack treadmill for $1,000, and that just knocked a bunch, like hundreds of dollars off of it, you know. So it's more like, hey, you know, you can still get this great experience, and like I said, but do make sure you know that, is this going to work if my internet's not on? Is this going to be something I can still use as a bike? These are important questions you have to ask now. You know, like if I choose to subscribe month to month, you know, is this going to be a giant hunk of garbage sitting in my, you know, bedroom, if, you know, or is it going to be a clothes rack, you know, if I'm not subscribed? So, look at the competitors. That's where there's more advertised deals right now, I'm noticing.
I think that's great advice. Look around. Don't be so into one company's product. Like, think about what you're using it for. Bridget, thank you so much. I'm so, you know, Thanksgiving tomorrow, so thankful for the work that you do and making it so much easier for our Stacker community. You not only do this here, you do this full time. Tell me what's going on with you at CNET.
Oh, I'm always kind of trying to jump into the weird stuff. I just recently tried out VR for the car, and I didn't lose my lunch.
Which is surprising, by the way.
This was something that the manufacturer Audi is starting to roll out with in the beginning of the year, where they'll have a package where like, hey, you want to sit in the back seat and play a VR game, where the car is telling the VR game if it's turning left, right, accelerating, braking, and like a ride at Disney, what you're seeing is also correlating with exactly what the driver is doing. So it turns left, you turn left, and your stomach doesn't turn left, because it actually didn't get me sick. It was pretty funny. So like, are we there to actually have that in every car yet? That's going to take some time, but it's fun to see all these fun, like, little new inventions and how they're going to affect us. So I'm always trying out weird stuff.
I live vicariously through you. And by the way, your Twitter photo of you and your friendly dinosaur always just cracking me up.
I get some interesting robots. That you're referring to is the Velociraptor Blue,
Yes.
one of Mattel's more advanced robots. Lately, I've made a friend with the Transformers Optimus Prime, where you just say Optimus Prime transform, and this thing goes from car or truck, to walking, talking robot. The dream come true. It's sad these things are expensive. Like, my Optimus Prime is like $700.
Oh my God.
But we're living in a prime time to be a nerd, my friend. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. And it's too bad you hate your job. It's too bad. You have this boring job where you never get to do anything. Bridget, thanks for hanging out.
Thanks for having me on.